Okay, so my question to you to finish off chapter 4 is, have you ever done anything that you've tried to keep a secret from your parents? Maybe hide something you shouldn't have eaten, or bought something you shouldn't have bought, or done something you shouldn't have done? Let's see what Marty does. I wonder if maybe in time I never see Shiloh again. I'll forget about him. But then I'm lying on the couch that night after everyone else has gone to bed, and I hear this far-off sound again, like a dog crying. Not barking, not howling, not whining even, crying. And I get this awful ache in my chest. I wonder if it is a dog, if it's Shiloh. I know you want a dog, Marty, Ma says to me on Thursday. She's sitting at the kitchen table with cardboard boxes all around her, folding a stack of letters and putting them in envelopes. Ma gets work to do here at home anytime she can. I wish we had the money so every one of you kids could have a pet. But with Grandma seeming to need more care, we just don't. And that's that. I nod. Ma knows me better than I know myself sometimes. But she don't have this straight. I don't want just any dog. I want Shiloh because he needs me bad. It's Friday morning when I hear the sound. Dad's off on his mail route. Darylyn and Becky's watching cartoons on TV. Ma's out on the back porch washing clothes in the old washing machine that don't work. Only the wringer part works if you turn it by hand. I'm sitting at the table eating a piece of bread spread with lard and jam when I hear the noise. I know it is Shiloh. Only the softest kind of noise, and right close. I fold the bread up, jelly to the inside, stick it in my pocket, and go out the front door. Shiloh's under the sycamore, head on his paws, just like the day he followed me home in the rain. Soon as I see him, I know two things. One, Judge Travers has taken his dogs out hunting, like he said, and Shiloh runs away from the pack. And two, I'm not going to take him back. Not now, not ever. I don't have time to think about how I promised Judd if I ever saw Shiloh loose again, I'd bring him back. Don't even think what I'm going to tell Dad. All I know right now, or right then, is that I have to get Shiloh away from the house, where none of the family will see him. I run barefoot down the front steps and over to where Shiloh's lying, his tail just thumping like crazy in the grass. Shiloh, I whisper, and gather him up in my arms. His body is shaking all over, but he don't try to get away. Don't creep off from me the way he did that first day. I hold him as close and as careful as I would carry Becky when she's asleep, and I start off up the far hill into the woods, carrying my dog. I know that if I was to see Judge Travers that very minute with his rifle, I'd tell him he'd have to shoot me before I'd ever let him near Shiloh again. There are burrs and stickers on the path up the hill, and I usually wouldn't take it without sneakers, but if there's burrs and stickers in my feet, I hardly feel them. No, Judge Travers and his hounds won't be over here, 'cause the hill belongs to my dad. Get me as far as the shad brush next to the pine, and then I sit down and hug Shiloh. First time I really have him to myself. First time I can hug him. Nobody looking, just squeeze his thin body, pat his head, stroke his ears. Shiloh, I tell him, as though he knows his name. Judge Travers isn't ever going to kick you again. And the way his eyes look at me then, the way he reaches up and licks my face, it's like it seals the promise. I'd made a promise to Judge Travers I wasn't going to keep. Jesus help me. But I'm making one to Shiloh that I will. God strike me dead. I set him down at last and go over the creek for a drink of water. Shiloh follows alongside me. I cut my hands and drink, and Shiloh helps himself, lapping it up. Now what? I ask myself. The problem is looking me square in the face. I gotta keep Shiloh a secret. That much I know, but I'm not gonna keep him chained. Only thing I can think of is to make a pen. Don't like the idea of it, but I'll be with him as much as I can. All right, so he doesn't like the idea of the pen, but he knows he has to do it. Why does he have to do it? Because he He has to keep it a secret. I take him back to the shad brush, and Shiloh lays down. Shiloh, I say, patting his head. Stay. He thumps his tail. I start to walk away, looking back. Shiloh gets up. Stay, I say again, louder, and point to the ground. He lays back down, but I know he's like to follow. So I pull him over to the pine tree, take the belt off my jeans, loop it through the raggedy old collar Shiloh's wearing, and fasten the belt to the trees. Shiloh don't like it much, but he's quiet. I go down the path, and every so often, I turn around. Shiloh's looking at me, like he won't ever see me again, but he don't bark. Strangest thing I've ever seen a dog to be that still. Ma's still on the back porch. When she washes, it takes her near all day. Darylyn and Becky stuck to the TV. So I gotta go to the shed by the side of the house, and I take extra fencing Dad used when we had us more chickens. I take me a piece of wire too, and go back to the hill. Shiloh's still there, and he don't try to get up while I set to work. I string the fence around the trunks of of 3 small trees for corner posts, and then back to the pine tree against where I fastened it, then back to the pine tree again where I fastened it with wire. Pen measures about 6 by 8 feet. I go back down to the shed again, and this time I get the old rotten planks Dad took out of the back steps when he put in new ones. Pick me up an old pine tin too. I take the planks up to Shiloh's pen and make him lean to one end to protect him from the rain. Fill the pie tin with water so he'll have something to drink. Last of all, I take the lard. From my pocket and feed it to Shiloh in little pieces, letting him lick my fingers after every bite. I wrap my arms around him, pat him, run my hands over his ears, even kiss his nose. I tell him about 1,000,000 times I love him as much as I love my ma. The worry part is whether or not he'll stay quiet. I'm hoping he will, because he is a silent dog to begin with. But all the way back down the hill to the house, I put my finger to my lips, turn back. Shh, I say. Shiloh, he don't make a loud sound, like he had the bark beat out of him when he was a pup, and it just never came back. I'm tense as a cricket that night. Tense when Dad drives up in his Jeep, afraid the dog will bark. Tense when Darylyn and Becky are out in the yard playing after dinner, squealing and yelling. After that, Shiloh will want to get in front of the fun and maybe dig a hole under the fence. He never comes. I manage to take a piece of potato and some cornbread up to feed him before it gets dark. I sit down in his pen with him, and he crawls all over me, licking my face. If he'd been a cat, he would have purred. He was that glad to see me. Tell him I'm coming back tomorrow, some kind of leash for him. Tell him we're going to run all over that hill, him and me, every day. Tell him he's my dog, and I'm not ever going to let anybody, hurt him ever again. And then I leave, wiring that fence good. I go home and sleep a full night. First time in a long while. Okay, we just finished chapter 4 of Shiloh, and we got to see Marty make a decision. Is this going to be a good decision, or is it going to be a bad decision and end poorly? We don't know yet, so more to come. So as I'm wrapping up Shiloh chapter 4, I want you to think, did Marty make the right choice? Did he really think through everything? And what is this making you wonder about? What is this making you think, Marty, good move, I would have done the same thing? Or, you're going to have to tell your parents. What do you think? Let me know.